Okay, so in the last lecture, we have narrowed down the using of search volume cost per click data as a guide. Okay, so in this lecture, we're actually going to finalize the keyword research process, and we're going to choose the target keywords. Okay, so these are very important because these are the counterpieces content of what we're making in the next section. So it's very important that we need to look at the competition who are already ranking on the first page of Google. So in terms of how strong are they. So what I want you to do now is to really just put on the visual check. It's very simple. So what you can do is to put some keywords there and just start typing in to Google, and really want to see how strong the competition is. So one thing that you can do to start is to look for the domain names to recognize these guys, right? So I can see here that a lot of these guys are well-established big companies. That's normal, I think. So as a CEO, it's very competitive space. Okay, so I really knew that going into this, there are professionals doing these days, and they're out. So no surprise for me. There's a lot of competition here. Now, the thing is, we might want to look at actually into the search results and see how the quality of this posts are. So anything that could really improve in here. So you could make this 5 times better, guys. So have I covered pretty much everything. So that's quick assessment that you can do to just really looking how strong the competitions are, plus the content as well. So here a lot of content that isn't really relevant, so see all these guys down these pages as spaces. So it seems very relevant stuff, right? Then you can see, okay, this keywords is very, there's a bit opportunity here. So cycle through a lot of keywords here, maybe can identify those ones in less competition. So just a quick visual check. Okay, so you can download this to your Chrome extension. Alright, so they're going to give us a lot of information about the competition and how are they. So once you've got those downloaded, it's very easy to install. See a pop-up on your Chrome browser here. What you can do is to look for another keyword here. Okay, and I can toggle this, and I can see some brings up a host information that I can see for free on a particular information, and we're going to see it here in this page, authority and domain authority. Right, so you might remember the ways back at the start of this course to overview the SEO. I showed you that it's really 2 factors to get into the top search results, and it's the relevance and the authority, right? Remember that, guys? Okay, so Google measures that authority really by number of links, and links, yes. So you have a point on that page. So page authority really represents the numbers of links, and I can see that a lot in this page here. So first pages were going quite strong. So anything that's like 50 to or 20 to those pages are really going to be easy to beat. So however, I can see here a lot of these quite competitive, and as far as here page authority, another thing you might want to look at is the domain authority. Authority of the domain is really just an aggregate of all the pages on their website. So how strong really are those? Essentially, the lower these numbers are, less competitive this keywords is going to be. Okay, so you can cycle through a couple of keywords, really looking at visually and using this information to help find. There are white space here, white less competitive terms. Now see that as well. I think keep in mind that you want to about going to valuable things to your audience. Okay, so I'm going to actually pick the keywords as a checklist, and even though it's very competitive, I know I got here brand new sites. It's hopes it has 0 domain authority. It's going to take a long time for me to get into the Taiwanese search result, but I think you can see this as a keyword belong in a very beneficial in this course. Now you have looked through similar keywords here on your checklist. I think a lot of them don't explain why these are the steps that give value, and I can add this to final point and I can make this to be available information for where there's a lot of opportunities. Okay, so but just think about what is going to be valuable to your audience. Don't think about ranking like the next week, or it could really take you for a long time. So patience is a virtue, guys. So I'm picking up this topic because it's valuable. There are good search volume, and there's great potential for me to get links in particular topics. So it's valuable immediately to people in this course. Okay, so I can link it from other places work, or transcend traffic through to it. So that's it. Now these keywords are this keyword research process, guys. We've covered a huge amount, and I think short space is time now that you have your chosen keyword. The next thing that we want to do here is actually teach you the process about how to create content around. Very important, guys. Now there were really going to be off relevancy here. So how to make that piece of content relevant to the keyword that Google can understand. Okay, so welcome back to our course, guys. So the last lecture we finished off on our keyword research process. Okay, so you have chosen the keywords that you serve as your counterpieces for your content. Now we need to do is actually create content around those keywords, and this lecture is going to get started to do the process and move into the page SEOs. Okay, so here are the section checklists. So this is the checklist you will use to write down new blog posts and create a new piece of content, because this covers all the things that you should have on your page, and make use of that. Okay, it's optimized and ready for search engines. So in this lecture we're going to cover first 3 points, then the subsequent lectures we're going to be working through them. Okay, so by the end of this few lectures, at the end of this part of the checklist will be perfectly optimized, the optimized piece of your content. So first thing you need to do is to actually come out of our website builder here and create a new post, WordPress. Okay, and the post is very similar to other site builders that you have. Okay, so this is where you're getting through all of this. So the SEO plugins installed there. Okay, very good. So in this set you're going to get started on this. So I installed a couple of lectures ago, but this will really help you to go ahead and remind you to to complete all of these 11 steps every single time. So I don't know how WordPress, don't worry, I've written off the points here anyway. But the thing here is that you want to really be picking up the keywords per page, so you can use as your slogan and create, and that's a great reminder for this. So I'm going to pop up that right there as SEO checklist. Okay, so I've already made it. So looking at the post here, followed exactly these 11 steps, but going to rebuild it from the start, and so you can understand the process just at the end of the result. So this is an example. Okay, now after I've picked out the focus words, I need to really write the title tag, and the title tag is really what appears in the search results here. Okay, so we'll look at this before, right, guys? So this is the title of your blog here on this page, and it is extremely important indicator for Google to watch the whole blog post. It's about it, the page, and you really want to spend time optimizing this. So you do nothing else from the checklist except this. Okay, so you'd still be doing one of those most important things to make sure you get this tone. Okay, that's very, very minimum. So this thing you want to think about, every page of your website should have a unique title tag. Now remember earlier on this course we optimize homepage title time. So you want to do essentially the same process here for each blog. For blog post referrals. You start with a relevant keyword, then start focus on those keywords, and you can edit my tag here inside here. Dashboard here, preview it. You can also add it here, and I need to work on down here. Okay, start typing it because dashboard checklist. Okay, so best if you can start your post. Would really you be worried of going after? No, you don't have to. Not exactly can see all of those search results you haven't started with exactly, but the best part of it is that you really start your own to focus on the keywords. Now another thing is that you can do to pick up some searches here, like 2016 Senfra. You can see that here that people of these 2016 etc. here, because a lot of people do search for that. So the search checklist templates tool 2016. So if there is something like that, you would often get updated and you need to be updated. People will type in the small modifiers, the dates that you can add in them. Okay. Alright guys, so if you want to actually add that in the title here, notice that at the end. So potentially I can pick some additional searches so for that term. Sometimes a checklist, but really just as an indication that it is updated. Okay, it's up. So update other ones to search results. Now I've got keyword in there. Okay, so what else I need to do? Well, I need to keep up a certain length as well. So you've got lemons here, or title tagent B to really be 55 characters or less. Otherwise, it will appear truncated in the search result. Okay, so let me give you an example. I'm just going to type in here home insurance, and I want to show you about how it looks to be truncated. I saw an example here in this, and it looks like this. Title tag too long. It shows the title, right? You see that? But then it's cut at the end. You can see ... So essentially, the title here is too long. So this company could probably shorten it a little bit. So for a full message within 55 characters. So just look a bit more professional, and ensure you're communicating your message in the frame that you have inside the WordPress. So it shows exactly the length of this, for example. So the green light good area, if you start to put in more than, it turns to shredded. You really want to avoid that there. Okay, so what you put in here, I would suggest that you really look at the title ties for your comparators as well. Look what they have done and you have to think about what can you really stand there. Okay, so there are numbers of other checklists, 29 point, 2040 point, 40 point something, the longest checklist. I did that on purpose. I want to keep pretty simple, so I can just complete the numbers here. I don't like it be a good idea. I'm not going to try to make more specific. Okay, so that's the checklist. Now actually I noticed surely that this is one of these search terms that are highlighted against 30 searches a month. Okay, so likely potentially after a while start a rank for this initially, and after much longer time. So don't be quick, it takes time. Okay, because very relevant to it has to be relevant to me, to my audience as well. I think a lot of people who would be taking this course really looking for that thing. So I can just take that keyword. Now I'm really going to be ranking for longer tail version, these keywords, which is great as well. One other thing I noticed here is the checklist gets 480 searches a month. So I don't have the exact term in the title. I add this as well as SEO audits. People really know not only can they use the checklist for new websites, they could go also for that, and also know audits as well. So that's really thinking behind the scenes. Okay, I would suggest that follow this process, guys. Follow this process. If you really have a look on your competitors, take a look that you can stand out in search result. Because reminder, this is what the process is all going to look like at the end of everything. It's stuck up in here and somebody is making a decision. Okay, so the best thing to win is to know your competitor's standpoint. Okay, so really Jones now here, let's look for something else that I really see on this page. Okay, I can see here just /SEO checklist. You see that? Our headed are actually set that up. So we are inside a serious chair. You can actually just see this and you can see how this is going to appear very easy to do here. Okay, now I think you really want to avoid those words and look something like this. Look at that. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So no / or equals 1 2 3. I want to make yours really human, readable. And also, if you are trying to make it easy for people to remember, it's luscious, it's easy to know how to get the page very quickly, and you want to keep these as short as possible by default, or even what will happen now here is the whole thing will put on your L here, but you can shorten it down to main words. Okay, so you can make it easy for people to really be there and remember it. Now I want you I know I have questions for long domain. If you have any shorter domain, yeah, just say / whatever that you can almost say lots of people. So we've done this really to cut it off the first points here. So I think to mention is separate the keywords, right? So you never want to have it like this underscore, because Google will read that all in one word. So in this lecture, we have completed the first 3 points on how to how on page SEO checklist. So in this lecture, we are really moving to the point 14 and looking how to skyrocket your click-through rate with meta descriptions. Meta descriptions are this later preview on the page here. Okay, so it's actually called a search, and the description is the way that you set that up. Okay, so you can see that this is an important part of your search results, and you just got the title, the URL, which you already have covered. So your last opportunity is to really grab people's attention and get them to the click-throughs. It doesn't have SEO impact. Google don't look at these much as a big driver to people getting them into click-through. You can grab their attention here. Okay, so there's a great chance for you to be going to click-through, the opportunity to increase the click-through rate. Okay, so let's have a look here. So there are post products compared to the competitors already appear in the search results. So what would I suggest you to do is to have a look at the better descriptions, maybe the better page here of Google for your particular keyword. So what to read and all the sense, that's what's in there. So there the site, so they look exciting, right? So you can take the best part of every single one of those you just created for better description as well. So if you see that there's something that isn't obvious there, you should be more obvious. You can throw that in as well. So what else you can think? Once again, there are, there's the length, okay, 160 characters. Otherwise, it appears from that. So this is an example where a little bit too long, so it's getting cut off. So there's that should be potentially shortened up. So what I would recommend is really to look at those ones and show you the description that I've written on this page. So you can see it on the page here in search results. Okay, those are the words from the 26 SEO practices. You should get the benefit of the word. Okay, so web traffic conversion and revenue, not only just for what's the contain in here, but also what's the benefit of all of that. Always remember the benefit, guys. So now I've also tried to highlight different parts of the checklist here. So it covers technical keyword research page and more, which I looked through some of their examples. So here wasn't obvious. I was 14 point 14 points covering. When I clicked through and I found that actually it only covers one part of SEO, doesn't cover really the parts that I'm trying to make it obvious that I am covering a lot of checklists here. So I'm trying to bring that here to the front, people see, get the attention of it. So that wraps up everything, guys. So catch their attention is your goal. See you on your next video. Okay guys, in the last lecture we have optimized your method descriptions, so we discussed that. Now you can see how really flying through them pretty quickly now. So we're going to do is to have an optimized any page in your blog post. So there's the search results, so you can see here I've included the images on the top blog because I think it looks professional. So let's go ahead and impact that from the start. I left out images here in the checklist for the purpose because we want people to be focusing on that point. Okay, so I would recommend that you read blog posts, particularly if it's quite a long one of that images. It's really breaking up the materials you use to be more visually appealing. Now what I would recommend is you to use order to make things, we called it canva.com, and it's for free to use. It's very effective. This is my best friend, guys, because I'm also a graphic designer. Okay, so potentially what you can do is to come and click and create designs and come down here. So they have been, have dimensions blog in here and blog image here. So great things about this tool is, well, they really have lots of templates. Wow, there's a lot, guys. So this will really will impress you, and it's for free. Yeah, you see that expect here, it means that you will have to pay maybe $1 every time. So you might want to use the image. Yeah, I'm also using that, guys. So if you really have a lot of great examples, you can see here you don't have to maybe use that image. So you can just use any background, guys. Okay, so you maybe drag, you can add all tags easily. Here you can add different elements, shapes as well, so you can do very quickly add it here, some image that you can use all around. And it's absolutely a great tool to use, very easy to resize, essentially like much easier version of something like Photoshop. Okay, you don't have to learn that if you have Canva, guys. You can make great images here. So what you actually download them, and then you can go and download if you have a couple of seconds here. Pick the JPEG option, because if you want to have like a small size, small image, here you can do that. So in terms of quality, it's not going to slow down your web. The page is much, and you can see that it's very easy to download it here. And so essentially is going to download into your download section there. Okay, so what I would recommend is when you download, you might see is that the title says here on titles here, guys. Yeah, so these are the designs that I would really recommend. If you do rename it with your keywords, you've got to design it here. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do maybe is to rename my keywords and just go into imagine I created. So I'm going to just cost you some checklists. So the same process I did in my own clients, I'm actually using this, guys, with my clients. So once I have this image that you have created in WordPress, you can add the media here. Okay, insert that. So you can upload the files and you just drag and drop down when you're going to see this, to see what you have on any options you have here, some other pieces of information, and this is really important part of the alt text. And it's really that Google look into to see the images it's about. So I'm going to type down my own checklist here, and here I could just insert this to my post, and just can resize whatever size you want. So in that process, it's very simple, guys. You don't have to be techy doing this. You can create these images yourself, do some covers. Important thing, you have to name the file. Okay, but the keyword is should be in this, and then the alt text as well. So that was really very simple. So it does include your target keywords here on the file, and not all tags for something else like a checklist. I don't think if so to me, we'll be checking my Google image search results for that. But for any other images that might be relevant on your blog post, just be really best practice to follow the steps. So that was very quick, so I recommend Canva. It's a great tool. In the last lecture, guys, we optimize your images for these search results, and now this lecture we're going to cover off the remaining points on the page part, as checklist, starting off reducing brands rates, and really want to make the topic clear right from the start. Okay, so if I suggest that you include your keyword in the first 100 words of your article, so you can see that on that here. Okay, so this is our checklist, and making it very clear right from the start. That is the point that I really want this article is really about. The next thing that you're going to do after that is really give your content a boost. Heading tags included in the keywords. Once this page or 3 or heading, you can see that I've done that here in different times. So got a technical answer checklist, the keyword down here as your checklist again. So those are my heading tags. These are very easy to make inside WordPress, so you'll be using WordPress. So I can write my heading right down here on page. See that? As you know, checklist, and I can change the page 2 heading tag here. Okay, and that's very simple. It's as simple as that. So just include not there. I think it helps really break up your content into different sections, like the images that you want to break a record and make it easy and scannable for people, allow them to really get through the content quickly. So already covered off for 2 points, and now including channeling at least 2 spellings to already sites, and there are very popular blog sites there. So we use government resources, etc., and every piece of the content you probably essentially what you want to show Google here is what your company you're referencing already established pieces of content and slides that you can see here that I've got tons of links. So here are really lots of different tools and resources, and these are all the things that would really be helpful and relevant to my audience. So I've covered all of that there. So now the next thing is the internal links, guys. So 3 internal links articles when you publish a new one. So I've done this here. I'm moving back up. Buyer persona, and link that back to article I've written. So that covers the marketing plan template. Okay, buyer persona. So there's one thing that you'll notice here. So that I've done wrong, that I can see that then it links it out, so brings it directly to the page. I went them to maybe open that pages, and I want to remain on that page. So whenever I bring external or internal links, I want to make sure that they are clicked on I click on the link, so it opens in a new tab. So this is very easy, guys. Edit it as well. Just combine buyer persona links here and click on click here, so little gear icon. I want to make sure that that opens up in a new tab. Okay, then I'm just going to save that there. Very simple. Now that has been updated, and you can see here I click, and now it's opening up a new tab rather than leave the page. So there's an important point that your internal and external links do that the whole thing. So new point number 2. It needs to publish longer content that you want to make the long post of at least 300 words. Now This is what here every tight words and longer or more competitive words, another thing that you want to do. Point number 21 on the add prominent social sharing bonds. So the brand here in your article, Nobody Seniors, really want to be able to people do this and share ours. So it really helps spread and get other people's hands if you don't have social sharing bonds, and that I would maybe recommend to dig there. Okay, so there's tools, different social sharing buttons here, and choose from and compare, and these are just one of you can potentially use. Now the final thing that you can really double check is everything is I've got as ordered here, so that you can use all you need to do, putting all yours. I put the keyword here and I'll test everything. So I think it's particularly useful to have WordPress site. So at this checkpoint, yeah, so done, yay. So it comes very handy tool, so you can use double check anything. It will scan your page and tell you how you're doing on all these different areas. Celebrity wraps up pages as your checklist. Now it looks like quite big list, but actually it's very easy to get through and connect quickly. So that's the process of what you want to use again and again, and come back here and recheck before you publish your next blog, and even look at the checklist recapping and what if you're ready. Okay, so done. If you see improve it slightly, so that wraps up the page checklist. Now we're moving to the link building, which is very important part of SEO. So those links really show in Google that gives authority. So here guys, in this lecture, so previously we finished off on the page of the SEO checklist. Now this lecture we're moving to the link building. So part of the checklist which is very, very important, guys. A part of SEO to remind you what the link is, and really when we talk about the overview of the start of the course, said that relevancy is a key factor to what Google determines who gets a top on the search results. Okay, so it's no coincidence that the keyword here features in the title. Where I'll have descriptions, relevance, that's a key factor indeed. However, another way that Google determines really the ranking order in these search results is by looking at authority. So relevance and authority. Remember that, guys? So they really want to put the best content at the top of the search results, and the way that they determine that is through bot links, and look for many people are linked to that web page, because if people are linking that, it must be great. So the results here, they rank a lot higher. The way we look at some site links here is the same tool. We look at, really assess that page authority and main authority that we're doing our keywords research that we can see. Okay, so also this tool now are the number of the links other sites around in the internet pointing back, and it's in the individual web page. So that's what I really want to look at now. So in this lecture, guys, what I really want you to cover are these first 2 points that we can really analyze our competitors' spot link and can really give us a sense of how we can create similar backlinks of the content, and we just created so that Google can see that authority and the word that they'll have run much higher search results to start analyzing your competitors' spot links and getting ideas of how you can generate back. So it's easy, guys. You just come into the search results here and click on the links there, and this will open up a new page. So I have here the list links. Okay, so now I might not access all of them, but it's what we're using is the free version. Okay, so to understand really how it looks like in real life, so we're just going to click through one of these here. So, and similar example I showed you in the overview of preview to visual, right? Okay, so at the bottom here is the page is essentially just linked to the web page. Okay, so that's the one that we are opening up. Now you can see here you're trying to understand how did the person get that backlink. Okay, so you can see this is posted by the person who owns that page. So this is a guest post. So, and essentially you might be noting down, knows the web social media today.com. I can see that they have allowed this person to back or guest post potentially. That is something that I can do as well. Okay, so they built a backlink here this way, so maybe that is something that we can do as well. So what you should do to be considering when you are looking at the different opportunities your competitors have built their backlinks is really the power of those keylinks, because one thing I want you to understand is not all keylinks are created equal. Okay, so your goal should earn to follow backlinks, to let them take a moment to explain this. So first off, Google really recognizes two types of links: to follow and not follow backlinks. Okay, so all links that are posted to social media and blog comments generally by default are all follow, meaning they do not pass any values through them. Okay, so the reason that Google meant those is really just to avoid spam. You understand, guys? So a lot of people it's very easy to game the system. Now you can just pump out the links to social media. So what I can see here is the links that are is actually no follow link. If I open, right, so up to this pages, all right, it shows me the code of the page. So I can look as it's the checklist. I can see that no follow link, so just a part of that code there, so you don't need to do this every single time following really what it looks like. So what might you be thinking is when you look at the particular opportunity, if you wanted to recreate and just know that these have real power, it could be great for beginning or for bringing in the topic, but it won't help you from SEO perspective. So no doubt down when you're going through the differences that I think opportunities that these can be great ways to generate traffic, but not necessarily SEO power. Okay, so only thing that can do is actually come up and link type and look at the only follower links, and these are the links that will give people or the SEO power. So that's the first thing that we looked at. So your goal should be earn those really follow links, and you want to get that authority boost from the link. Now the other thing is that boosting are not created equal for another person. So Barclays have some rankings pages and we actually have more power than backlinks from a brand. So now the website that Google doesn't see any authority. So while we can see here in this tool, each of the backlinks here, the pages, they're coming for to see the page authority and domain authority as well. So what you want to be looking for me here is when you're looking at the opportunities and you want to try and get from the page sites and have the highest page authority and domain. All right, I think sort this list. So maybe not this version, but this. Okay, yeah. So if you're trying to earn market things, you should really be getting them here at the site. So that person is going to have value that much than a website that was just set up yesterday. Okay, so that's the second thing that you need to really focus on through this different opportunities. So we're using the Open Site Explorer tool. So there are some other tools that you can use, essentially the process in the same. So maybe you want not to be just particular search results, but you want to come into all of that results on the first page. So you want to understand how they are getting their backlinks, in particular where they're getting their backs. So do follow backlinks and high authority sites and they guess posting. So what's the context in which reference? Now the context here where they were linked, so you can really see that has worked. Okay, so another tool that you can use, guys, well, this monster.com. So yeah, it's a huge drafts tool that we have. Okay, so it's a lot. You can get a lot of information using the free version of this tool. You can pick up more information if you have as many as possible links off Majestic RTO, and does a very similar thing. So you can just have the backlinks for the page, and then finally you might want to revisit the similar web tool that we looked at before. So now this is actually won't show up your backlinks for individual page, etc. It will show you more information on the website, but you can maybe come in and take an examples from results, search results, and it's just, if you want to get sense of general where they're getting the traffic from. Okay, so not specifically bot links, but just a higher level. Now there is an audience from, and where their traffic across the different sources. So I think taking a back step maybe. So now that you understand how your competitors backlinking works, guys, so in this lesson we're going to talk about to take action on that information and maximize links on your own SEO campaign to manually buildings. Okay, so with this content you just published and reach people by pitching them through your email with your latest post products that you can give examples, and come into one to do follow back links. And I find here, okay, so I'm going to see where my competitors are referencing, and what can I see in this article here, that they are having really a list of resources right down there at the bottom. All right, so you could find the contact information for that author in this blog, and here is a little bit of digging today, maybe through. All right, so I come across this article, Saddle X, and I noticed you reference this particular article. Okay, so you have to put them all together on your checklist, and the audience perhaps wants to reference that as well. Okay, so following by your website. So one of the things that I would say is that in a bit of grind, you should expect to be 5% response from these cold emails. But even if you have a couple of links, 5 links out of 100 that requires those 5 links linked out, all right, but that's okay. So make the difference, because they do follow links from higher authority sites, and that's really help you out. Okay, so another thing that you can do maximize links with your SEO campaigns is search for existing non-linked here. Okay, so let me give you an example of this. So I come to Samo here. You can maybe type in the name or the brand of the company at this for yourselves, right? But I'm just getting started, so I don't have time to reference. So let's just put a local company. Okay, so where this business has been mentioned, and if I click this open, then I can see that a lot of companies here, a lot of companies are having this article on their slides. Okay, but you include the link back to your website, and the website name, and that will increase particularly because this website guys has a good domain. All right, and it's already been very good domain authority, so it has here another way that you can maximize the links. So you need only fear as your campaigns, but the website in general. Okay, so an essential contact owner asks them to kindly link back back to you if possible, so you don't want to be pushy. Okay, so you do not expect a huge response period on this, but definitely it's worth doing the work because it's really easy, very easy to get backlinking your website. So that's the process, and let's go to. In the last lesson, we'll learn how to maximize your SEO campaigns. In this slideshow, we're covering the final point, the 26th point in our SRO checklist, and we really get to know how to create content that generates links and order shares and share social shares on autopilot. So you got 5 smarter ways to do and how to generate links of social shares. Okay, so each of these we can also give you an example. So you really have an idea on how you can create content that really going to win, because there are certain formats of content that, ways of figuring how that's going to be working. So what you really model here is what's been successful. So first point, I want to point out this model content that's already been successful. It's already been proven to generate links and social shares. That is the reason why I picked this one. So I can see that there are already been a lot of links. That is, it's in a format that has already proven to work. Okay, so another way to find out that what's really worked and model, that is to use the tool called Bows. So you can use this tool, guys, and it's proven, counter ideas and formats. So if we come into this is exactly what it does. It analyze the content performance, okay, and the topic of your competitor. All right. So, and it's a free tool, guys. So if you upgraded graded version, that's also okay. Now these tools we've work, and I'm going to do is to put the drones here. So this topic, not particularly what I'm going to after is the examples that we can maybe all understand. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to type in the drones here and pop-ups, so I can see lists of articles improvised online in the past years that is filtered in the past year too. So I can see number of shares here that is not that they got across social networks as well, so you can also use them to backlink here as well. So I open this up. Now I need a pro version for that, but even if you don't look on the social shares, you can really see what's the content and that has been popularized. Now what you can do is, okay, you're going to be able to maybe write this exactly. So maybe you can do is have a look on the top articles and they have got in common. So I think for here, one thing that comes to my mind is the higher way I see the article like this, see, and maybe write an article, the top 10 used drones, and no one can, protect you. It could be a list number, or one protect the sea turtles, number 2, guys. Okay, so there I heard people using drones to somebody that to protect elephants and poachers, to stuff like that. So that's something that you could potentially use to place for inspiration. So you may not be able to copy and paste everything on this site, but that's a lot. All right. So the nature is even how drones are being used in general, and that's something that we can do. Now, just a small example, but that's essentially how to two works you can find the most popular content in here. Okay, so there are all sorts of filters that you can use. You can look for infographics, all sorts of different types of content as well. So this is a great place to start if you want to model successful content to come into and like this and see it's already getting results, because it's something that already been getting something close to it or similar or model in and they have much better chance of getting result if you do it yourself. Okay, now just talking about those like best lists. So I have here an example Here I'm going to open up and I can change the link that later. But essentially, you can see that this is just the best list for the top 10 graphics for instant marketing pros. Now there's a list of top 10 here, and the smart thing about these best lists, they are very easy to put together. You don't have to actually have to create a lot of content, but you find the content that's already been successful and put together in a list. And the beautiful thing about a piece of content, here is everything in one of these 10 websites. So if you're going to want to share this post and link it back to share with your audience because they made it into top 10, and if you do this, so it's extremely powerful way to include other people in your content and get them to share content to your behalf because it's in their interest. It makes them look good. If we look at the Mars bar here, okay, there's a particular page and it has generated 114 links. So which a lot of links probably bring a lot of traffic and authority to this particular site. So it probably did not take them very long to come up with this, just to find the best ones. So they put them all together, said, damn, here's the second idea to generate links. But shares apply because putting them together. So people into the list in their interest to share their audience because it makes them look good, not brings a lot of attention. To know the third way to generate shares on autopilot on the crowds is the crowdsource content. Crowdsource, guys. So this is a kind of similar best list, and it takes a little more work. So here's an example of that. So we looked at this earlier, early course experts on how building your email list. It's so important, right, guys? It's a backup for your business. Now there's great things about this as well. That similar, the best of less they are likely to share this site. So with their audience, because it makes look like an expert. So it puts them in the company of all these other people, and that's just another way. It's a format that really is conducive to getting links and sharing all, because you're really making other people look better, and when you make other people look better, they want to share it, right? Now the fourth way to generate links in social media shares on autopilot is to publish survey results. And I've got an example of this here. You could easily create survey. You can even use the survey that you created online that you made earlier in the early course, and you could gather those survey results and publish them. So I'm gonna go give you an example of that. So here is this guy, I assume blog, yeah, but especially when he did this survey his audience and put them together in a post here. So once again, people are very likely to link this. Can you see this as so there's a big number of links there, right? 1,177 links, because it's showing them information about themselves and participated in a survey. They were involved in putting it together. So you can see a number of respondents, and they are very likely to share that heard afterwards because they've been involved in this information. It really sourced from them. So it's very smart to really get people to do one, share their content and say, hey, I was part of that survey. Yeah, so check the iris, and then makes people look at me. The final way to generate a lot of things in social shares on autopilot is to create infographic, guys. So here's an example of an ad infographic. The way that these actually get links back to your website, it's people embed these infographics into their website using a piece of code like this. Okay, all right. So just to copy and paste that, to put them in, then have a paragraph like this, and you see the page. So it's a huge graphic, guys. So I can see here they got 486 links, but you can do something much simpler. So you probably want to keep maybe 7 points, something of that. And there are tools that you can generate these picked up chart in one. If you're going to do free infographics. So another one here is called the visual.ly. Okay, so you can actually come and view where you can search some for graphics. So just stay with us here. So the drones here, you can see that anything, you see, okay, 133 views. So but there's are some. Okay, so there are things for graphics that you're going to search online, something that like drone graphics, and you're going to get examples. If you can see all of these links. So once again, using the same Gasper tool. So that's 5 ideas for you. So 5 ways, guys, 5 ways that can generate links, shares on autopilot. Now I said you might be not doing this right away, but you got your brain kind of thinking, and if it involves other people and you're content making them the reason why they will share it or create great. So in the last lecture, we wrapped up the final point in our checklist, but I've got a little bonus here for you. Okay, so guys, I think this is especially relevant for brand new websites that really have no authority. So what you can do is really leverage the authority and audience to other websites to quickly get the top of the search results. So what I'm talking about here is you can think of like a guest post or guest that somebody else websites, and you can guest post on something like YouTube. Because if we come to that search result, we turn for our Mars Chrome extension here on what you will notice is the first page of that search results here. So remember, we looked at the domain before and really how Google sees the authority on our size. So all the pages aggregate in there, so I can see a huge cube that has domain and already have hundreds, and probably this website is also owned by Google, so they are going to preference in these search results, and here you can where do the ranking. Okay, so even though my page here has no authority and it's almost 0, nobody's linking straight to my video, hardly. So but the domain authority of YouTube is strong, and it can get me in front of the page of the Google very quickly. So that is something that you want to think about, and that's what you want to do. Maybe link back into your site or link it to your whatever affiliate offer is straight back to your site. Okay, so as well as YouTube, there are other opportunities, and you can also get a massive domain authority, and you can get the first page to Google. So let's talk another one here. So here's we're looking at the Cura. So it's talk about it later in social media. So the main authority of 88, right? So you can see that for a certain has over 14,000 searches. Akira questions here in front of this page. Behold, here I am answered the question. So at the top of that brings me in a massive amount of traffic and essentially like ranking to the first page indirectly. But in that way, you can also get there is through the domain authority. All right, so you're gonna get it. So let's talk another example here. It's very similar to me. So there is the main authority of 76. All right, so you can see him on front of, once again, of course, that's that are published on you to me, some leveraging. So there are two main authority to really get into the front page, and it's very hard for a brand new website to with no authority to get in there, but I can get in there indirectly through these high domain authority websites. And what the final one that we're going to look as an example here, the Slideshare, guys. Slideshare. So this is a website. Okay, So it's a website. So let's see, on the first page it's essentially building up a huge amount of views. Now this is not mine, but there's another domain authority website that you can use to get one of those front page of Google to get this visibility, and you can send the traffic back to your website through this links in the end of the video. So a question in your Slideshare, etc. So disable this, but there are plenty of other high demand authority platforms, and so where you can publish your content, so you can use it for shortcut and get the front page of Google. Redirect the traffic back to your website. Now that's the best scenario that we could have, all the traffic coming from your website directly. But this is especially short-term solution to help your website to get the traffic that you want. So pretty much that's it. I'll see you on your next video.